Welcome back. It feels like every week lately we're reporting on a new case of animal cruelty, from the awful case of the dogs found dead at a boarding facility in Washington County to that pit bull in a crate set on fire in Albany. The case has inspired 13 Investigates to look into animal cruelty, from how they're investigated, prosecuted, the laws on the books, and the calls for additional laws, and how the pets that survive the abuse are cared for and find new loving homes. Sabrina Dami worked with NewsChannel 13 producer Eric Guerra to bring us this three-part series, From Abuse to Adoption.
Tragedy at this dog boarding facility in Washington County. 21 dogs found dead at Anastasia's Acres due to poor ventilation and not enough water. These two pit bulls, Odin and Luna, were among the dogs that died.
Both kids literally broke down and fell to their knees.
Odin and Luna's owners, on a family vacation, trusted the facility would take care of the dogs. Two people, Robert and Anastasia Palulis, are charged with 22 misdemeanors. In Half Moon, the owner of a dog rescue was arrested on animal cruelty charges after a French bulldog named Gus died of extreme heat. Authorities say many other dogs, at a time for pause, were kept in tiny cages with little to no food and water. In Milton, 54 golden retrievers and one chihuahua are recovering after they were found living in awful conditions, coated in feces and urine. 2 people are now charged. In Guilderland, this pair was arrested after authorities found dead cats and kittens inside a crate covered with a blanket. And in Colony, 2 kittens thrown into a recycling bin, saved just in the nick of time.
The problem is they seem to come in clusters.
Albany County Sheriff Craig Apple says his office gets tips of animal cruelty cases all the time. Many times it's someone spotting a dog left outside for too long on a very hot or very cold day. Other times, it's much, much worse.
We run into hoarding situations all the time where, the animals are, the house is just a horrendous situation.
In those cases, it is all hands on deck. Sheriff's deputies, volunteers, the Humane Society work to remove those animals from those awful conditions. It can take days, especially when all different animals are involved. Like the case in Westerlo on June 19th, where in addition to 22 dogs found in deplorable conditions, there were also 15 horses, a cow, and birds in need of help.
We may have to reach out like, hey, can you take 2 horses? Can you take 4 goats? Can you take 8 cows? Whatever the case may be.
That's when the Mohawk Hudson Humane Society in Menands steps in.
We are involved in every step of the process.
Mohawk Hudson is one of the biggest shelters in the capital region. They have investigators who go to these scenes and medical experts who are on hand at all times.
There's a lot of documentation. There's a lot of photos. All of that needs to be handled so that it can potentially go to court.
These cases are not only taxing and emotional, but also extremely expensive. A big hoarding case can cost between $20,000 and $50,000 a week.
And it costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars to care for these animals medically, to house them, to do behavior rehab with them.
That's where you at home can step in. Mohawk Hudson here and all of the shelters in our area are always in need of donations and volunteers to help these animals who are just in awful situations. But once those animals are rescued, what happens next? What are the challenges with prosecuting these cases? We'll tackle that in part 2 of our series coming up live at 5. Sabrina Dami, News Channel 13.
We're turning right now to part 2 of our 13 Investigates series, From Abuse to Adoption. Earlier in Live at 4, we talked about how animal abuse cases are being investigated. And now, Live at 5 for you, with dozens of horrific animal abuse cases we're reporting on right here in the capital region. A lot of them just within the past few weeks here. What are the challenges that are holding these abusers back from being held to the full extent of the law?
Sabrina Dami and News Channel 13 producer Eric Guerra continue our coverage. A warning, the video you're about to see is hard to watch.
Early in the morning, February 23rd, while it was still dark out, a man drags a crate covered with a sheet across a church parking lot in Albany. He then walks away, and the crate is on fire. Police say a 1-year-old pit bull puppy was inside, set on fire after days without food and water. 34-year-old Christopher Maxwell from the Bronx was charged with animal cruelty. His case is set to go to trial this fall.
The most obvious problem is we can't talk to the victims.
Albany County District Attorney Lee Kinlan says this video is extremely valuable evidence, as animal cruelty cases, he says, are generally very hard to prosecute. Investigators often have to rely on forensic techniques and zero in on how the animal died and did it suffer.
What's always tough in these cases is the subjective feel about how awful something may be compared to the objective proof that we have. You got to try and balance those two things to make sure that you're not just going off of emotion, but you're going off of facts and proof.
DA Kinlan says these cases tend to take longer to put together because of another challenge: the laws.
We all know the laws need to be rewritten and they need to be strengthened. There has been talk about maybe making animal abuse cases bail eligible.
In 1997, the actions of a 16-year-old in Schenectady sparked New York's Buster's Law, one of the first felony animal cruelty laws in the country. Buster's Law was named after an 18-month-old cat set on fire and tortured. The community outcry grew, asking for stronger penalties for animal abuse cases.
That took on a life of its own.
New York State Senator Jim Tedisco, who served in the Assembly at that time, spearheaded the passage of Buster's Law, and now he wants to make the law even stronger.
Buster's Law is 2 years in jail and a $5,000 fine. Now I have a bill pending, 4 years in jail and a $10,000 fine.
Senator Tedisco, for years, has also pushed for the passage of Kirby and Quigley's Law, named after two golden doodles shot and killed during a burglary at a home in Montgomery County in 2016. The thieves killed the dogs and then stole a television, laptops, and jewelry from the home. Kirby and Quigley's Law would expand the definition of aggravated cruelty to animals to include harm to a companion animal during the commission of a felony. Senator Tedisco is also pushing for a statewide animal abuse registry.
These would be the people of the most serious animal felony cruelty crimes. That person, if convicted, and should be convicted, should never own a pet again.
The added concern here is that these cases are often viewed as bridge crimes. Authorities find that people who abuse animals go on to sometimes abuse people as well. As the legal process plays out, what happens to the animals who are here at Mohawk Hudson and other shelters? We have an update on one dog, Lavender the dog, in an awful situation, found with her ear cut off, how she is doing right now, and also how you at home can help out. Part 3 of our series airs live at 6. Sabrina Dami, News Channel 13.
It was a case that broke hearts all across the capital region. A small dog found abandoned on a street in Schenectady, starving, with wounds to her face, broken teeth, and an ear cut off. Staff at the Mohawk Hudson Humane Society in Manans took her in, and they named her Lavender. They gave her medical care, showered her with love.
Very close.
They fed her a lot of treats. And then a foster dad stepped in.
I've been rescuing dogs for over 20 years, and almost all of them were abuse cases.
E.C. Stumpf, who wants to adopt Lavender now, says seeing her sad face turn into happy big tail wags is incredibly rewarding.
She's learned how to be a dog again. It's something I'm very proud of, and I'm proud of her. And it's nice to see.
When dogs like Lavender come to Mohawk Hudson, there's a whole process to help them heal, both physically and emotionally. Rescue dog Kiana happily sits next to Nancy Haynes, the vice president of shelter operations at Mohawk Hudson.
She was very, very shut down and shy when she came to us.
Kiana was rescued from an animal hoarding situation in Cohoes in September 2024. Mohawk Hudson seized 102 animals from what was meant to be a rescue called Empathy. The animals were all sick and kept in dirty conditions.
She is our last dog from that case to be waiting for adoption.
When Kiana arrived here at the shelter, she was closed off, sad, and very resistant to any medical care.
That's pretty classic of a lot of cruelty cases that we see. The animals are generally very shut down. They don't have a lot of human interaction.
It takes time to rehab these animals and get them back to a healthy weight and make sure any infections or diseases are addressed, and also to work on them emotionally.
You did? Good job.
And there are success stories from these awful cases of abuse.
Soaking it all. Wait, so
Here are just some of the 54 golden retrievers rescued from home in Milton this summer. Once in an awful state, covered in urine and feces, now these dogs are living with foster families, happy and thriving. And this, the long line of people wanting to adopt dogs from the rescue in Half Moon that suddenly shut down this summer after a dog died from extreme heat. So many people showed up, many had to be turned away.
Different dogs. All right, so they're all adopted out at this point.
And there is no bigger sign of hope than new life. The foal born after her mom was rescued from an animal cruelty case in Westerlo. Veterinarians from Mohawk Hudson quickly discovered one of the mares was pregnant. And just weeks ago, baby Grace was born.
So it's hard to see them in the beginning, but being able to see them at the end and when they're ready for adoption is really why we're all here.
So how can you at home help out? We've talked about how expensive these cases can be, tens of thousands of dollars every week in some of these bigger hoarding cases. Mohawk Hudson here in Manans, they are always looking for donations, for volunteers just to come and help walk the dogs, or a foster family to help these dogs. We will put their contact information on our website if you'd like to reach out to them to see how you can help. Sabrina Dami, News Channel 13.